We are working with the Taft Museum of Art to celebrate not only the 40th anniversary of the Duncanson Artist-in-Residence Program, but also the 175th anniversary of Robert S. Duncanson, his legacy, and his landscape murals. I'm hoping that you will learn a little something and enjoy this conversation. With me today are not just citizen celebrities, but bona fide celebrities in the art world. I am honored and privileged to talk to creatives, social disruptors. I was going to say creative culinary and visual artists because Tunde is the creative culinary and Anissa is the visual creative, but they're both bringing a conversation around art, legacy, and how the Duncanson program impacted their practice. Hey.
Hello.
Hola. Sorry.
We are multicultural here. First, before we get started into a rich conversation, I hope, let's introduce you. Let's introduce you.
I'm going to keep it simple. My name is Tunde Wey. I'm an artist. I use food in my work sometimes, but the primary mode of inquiry is our economic system. So that's the thing that I tackle in my work.
I'm excited, yeah.
And to our Spanish friend.
I know. My partner's gonna hate me. I should have said bonjour. Yeah. I know. I apologize. Bonjour. My name is Anissa Lewis, born and raised Covington, Kentucky. And I start with that because that is where my work stems and flows. As an artist who does community-informed work, I am about story, voice, agency, history, and memory, shapes of memory. How that is, how space is a power that shapes us all.
Oh, I love this. Because I feel like the theme here, and not that we have to hit it exactly, is like social discourse. Like, what does that look like in art? How has the Duncanson program allowed you to explore that as an artist? And several other things. But let me get to the program. Let me get to my first question. We'll delve into that a little bit later. Tunde, this is for you. Looking back at your time as a Duncanson artist-in-resident, it was 2024, correct?
Indeed.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what experiences and insights stand out that ultimately shaped you as an artist.
Wow. I think, well, it's super personal. My mother had passed away the year before, and I'd been working on a project, a film project, for a really long time. And I was fed up with the project. I was looking for, I guess, a different way to express myself.
Yeah.
And I applied for the residency, and I applied for another residency, and I got both of them. And then our film got accepted into like a film festival. And it felt like around that time that my mother was making some sort of statement. So I was coming into the residency with that sort of like wind in my sails, as they say in French. And but then being here, and this is what I enjoy about making art, and what I enjoy about living, really, and also the folks who I choose to collaborate with. What I enjoy in them is allowing the freedom or the trust to do what I'm inspired by.
Yes.
And that might sometimes look like being, unprepared or I don't know, or maybe too speculative. But what in fact is happening for me is that my work is iterative, and so I am responding to my feelings. I if I'm doing work, say in Cincinnati, and I have sort of shared that work with the folks at the Taft and Duncanson.
Yeah.
But then I wake up one morning and I feel inspired to talk about my mother in that work. I need the space to do that, right?
I appreciate that, yeah.
And these folks, they're behind the camera. So, but they allowed me that space, and they also provided me the institutional support, the emotional support, to just do some stuff that was frankly unconventional, without like challenging the idea, but challenging me to think deeper about how I wanted to show up. And that's just, that means a lot to me, and that means a lot to my practice, because there are many times I think in an art practice or even in life where there are these like valleys or something. And for me, how I get through those, I recall the times where I won, and where I won in ways that I describe as winning.
Yes.
And one of those times was being here. And so, to answer your question, how it has informed my practice is whenever I feel that possibilities might be limited for me, I remember the times where they were expansive. Ooh. And the Duncanson was one of those times.
I love that answer. I appreciate that in so many ways because it speaks to the legacy of Robert S. Duncanson. Can you imagine coming here as an African-American artist in very transitional times and bringing your gift and using it as an act of resistance in the only way that art can be a lot of times? So I appreciate that. This is for you both. What sparked your interest as an artist? How did you choose your medium, and in choosing that medium, how did it take you on a creative journey?
I trying to compact it because so much about art is identity and just how you move and navigate in the world. So there'll always be these defining moments that kind of, go into the crucible, and then you come out the only way that you can come out.
Right on.
So long story short, because of, this goes back again to community, is that because so much had been poured into me, that I knew that wasn't normal in how I was in the community where I grew up, that resources were given to some and not to others, that I just felt very important to honor that gift, to honor that love and that care, from my community. And so I knew in my, having gone to college and gone to grad school to get my master's, they were set up and they operated in two totally different ways. Whereas my undergrad was very much about us learning and being together, and grad school was so not. It was very much traditional. Like it was a runway to New York. And that was where I didn't have the language, but I knew I didn't make sense there. And so it wasn't until that I had moved to Philadelphia after grad school where it was very much my coming of age story, where I got to see art and community live in a way that I had never before. Because in undergrad, it's about the foundation, and it's about language, and it's about who you are and what you want to say with your work. And since that was done in a communal setting, I thought that was just the way that it always was. And it wasn't until I left that setting that I was realized we're not gonna lock arms together into the world and do art with the capital A. Yeah, nobody wanted that. So it wasn't until I got to Philadelphia and saw art in the community that I finally had language for it. And so doing work that was a community informed and public facing, that's where I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do, because it finally gave language and gave purpose and relevance to where I had come from.
In your medium.
So it's evolved. I think that it's similar to what you were saying, like however I'm gonna show up, and what I feel drawn to, then it's going to tell me what it needs to be.
Say that.
Because my work has evolved. academically trained painter, printmaker.
Okay.
But now my work is interactive murals. I dabbled in a little film, you know. My last body of work, photography, prints, light projection. So because to me it's about the story.
Yes.
What is the form in which the story needs to present itself,
Yes.
and that's going to determine the work that it's going to be, the medium that it's going to be.
Yeah, my story was I met somebody who gave language to how I felt about myself already, and the work that I was doing never made any money. But I kept insisting on doing being presenting work in a particular kind of way, and I was doing at the time I was cooking and using the dining space as a way to create conversations and dialogues, and then I started escalating that proposition. But somebody came to one of my dinners and they were like, "This is art," and they are a curator and they've become a friend, and they just kept putting me in shows. And it just made sense. It made sense. It made sense for me that the way that I saw the world, one particular way that I see the world is that nothing is fixed.
Yes.
But the things that are fixed, that feel fixed, have consequences, even though nothing is fixed. And I think that sort of like moving between that like fixed and unfixed space was hard to translate in a non art context. So being told that my work is art and I'm an artist just like freed me up to be like, okay, let me move more in the unfixed space, because there's a lot of room there, and so yeah, that's sort of like my story, my origin story.
Thank you. Since completing your residency, how has participating in the Duncanson Artist-in-Residence Program expanded your practice or allowed you to open up new pathways?
I think, like I said earlier, this space was very generous.
Yes.
And it became a joke during my residency, but it was a reflection of the generosity of the residency, where they were like, I think maybe this was the first culinary artist in residence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was the first. But then I was, I was called an artist. I'm sorry, a chef that didn't cook. But it was funny, right?
Okay.
But it was true. People were like, "Well, okay, where's the food?" I'm like, "Hold on a second, it's coming." But it hardly ever came. But the point is, they allowed that, right? They allowed me to show up in community as an artist and as a chef who was not talking about food.
Yeah.
Who was talking about material conditions and circumstance, and then the instance where I did cook, it was an experimental, I don't know, project that we co-produced together.
Yes.
And so that memory of what expansive possibilities are is something that I take with me. And so I think right after my residency, right after my residency, I did one more food thing, and then then I took time off from food, and the project that I did, like leaving food, was I was singing on stage, right? I mean, but I think that's like a direct, the idea that there is a story that needs to be told, and that you let the story, tell itself through you, as opposed to put yourself into a category or a medium. I think that is how the residency has really like inspired and affected my work.
Yeah. This is for both of you. Share a few of your most significant influences to your voice, and in what ways have they helped shape your approach or your perspective?
I want to be Zora Neale Hurston when I grow up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only if
Yeah.
I can be Octavia Butler.
All day, done and done. Done. Yep, between Zora Neale Hurston and Nina Simone.
Yes.
I just think that because she was an ethnographer,
Yes.
she went to where the story was. and she leveraged her platform and her access for those voices.
Yeah.
Done and done. Like, and so because the power of story is just the story of humanity, and it's just where there is such power. I'm just compelled, absolutely compelled. Nina Simone, I don't, say less. Like you just you're kind of done after you say her name.
Drop your mic, please don't.
We're done. but like the craft of storytelling. I think that, and then bell hooks.
Yes.
That story as teacher.
Yes.
Those there's so many there's like those three are just the pillars, because like in the sum total of that work, like it's a lifetime of study.
Yes, ma'am.
To just that kind of lays out a practice of thinking, feeling, and being.
Ooh, I got a little chills from that.
I think for me it depends on what's happening. When I meet people who make art or don't make art, I'm inspired by people who just do like bold and irregular things. They don't have to be big. I remember even before I even knew I was an artist or called myself that, like 10 years before, I wanted to go back to school, and I applied to art school in Chicago, and I was doing I was going through the studios at the SAIC of the grad school studios, and there was this, I can't forget it. I walked into this studio, and the artist wasn't there, but she had a mannequin, and there was a dress on the mannequin. It looked like a wedding dress, like all white. And she had sewn grains of rice throughout the dress, like the whole front and back, everything. Every part of the dress had like rice sewn into it. And she's from Asian culture where rice is important. Yeah. And when I saw that shit, I'm like, excuse me. When I saw that, I was like, wow, this is like exactly what I want to be doing. Yes. I want to be doing something that means absolutely everything, but also means nothing to the current system. Like, what does a rice dress mean? Like nothing, but it also means like everything. Mm-hmm. And so people's work, people's ideas inspire me. Yeah.
That's powerful. So much of the work that I believe artists do is seen as wayfinders, and yet it is carrying on legacies. So it's like this dual lane of like work, leading those who are still discovering while also following the pathways of those who started before you. That's so beautiful. Okay, next question, Tunde. Why do you feel programs like the Duncanson Artist-in-Residence Program matter today, and how does their mission intersect with your own artistic value and journey?
I mean, the only thing that's a shame about the program is that it can only take like one person.
Yes.
Because to have space to do work.
Yes.
And have the work not be just like the idea of the work be challenged. I mean, sorry, I'm saying that if, at least for me, my experience, if you're an artist making your way through this world, through this economic system, and you're a working artist, oftentimes your choices are challenged by the economic reality. Can you pay your bills? I mean, not just artists, but a lot of people. Yeah. But there's something about maybe being an artist that just feels a little more crazy in this time, especially when things are financially precarious. People are like, what are you doing? And, so having that space, and by space I mean like the material resources, the money that they give you, which is generous, the place to stay, then the institutional supports that surrounds you, with the education department, at the Taft, with Kareem himself, helping you produce, think through, experiment with work. I mean, who doesn't need that? Everybody needs that. Whether you're an artist or not, like everybody needs that. And so I think the Duncanson is impactful in that way. and how does it how does it intersect with my ideas of
Yeah.
yeah, I think people should be comfortable.
Yeah.
And I was very comfortable here. So whatever it takes to make people materially comfortable. I'm not saying people should be living in luxury or anything, but luxury is good.
Luxury is good.
But to be comfortable,
Yeah.
to have no worries about paying your bills, about to have space to think, to have to know that your needs are taken care of, so that you can produce things that are important to you and to other people. And those are my values, or at least the values that I try to live.
Yeah, I love that. There was a time I was actually a program coordinator for the Duncansons as well. And one of the biggest aha and, like moments was just how dedicated they were to this work and to carrying on Robert S. Duncanson's legacy, not just by words, but by deeds. And so that idea of making space to be not perfect but purposeful is a beautiful space to sit in.
That's a word.
Using your artistry as a medium. For both of you, can you walk me through your creative process? How do you develop, your ideas and your craft? This could be a long answer, but yeah, but yeah, break it down. Break it down.
Part research,
Yes.
part timeliness.
Yeah.
What you're experiencing and what you feel called and compelled to.
Yes.
And then being in conversation, because the process itself is a very solitary thing.
Yeah.
But I think that, again, it comes from how you feed the well.
Yes.
And I think that being receptive and open is just so huge.
Yes.
Because you're bringing things in, internalizing them, and really wrestling with a lot of ideas. And then from there, being very vulnerable.
Yes.
And letting something shape you, because that's a very scary thing. And then from there, trusting the process and trusting the craft to make and to engage with material.
Yeah.
I think that part of one's creative process is about play.
Yes.
And is it joyful? Because there's so much wrestling that does happen to kind of like really dare to be clear and dare to be open and honest about what you're putting, because that is the one thing that you're responsible for.
Yeah.
You're not responsible for how it's received,
Right on.
but you are responsible for how it is made.
Yes.
And the thoughtfulness and thoughtful FULL-ness that goes into it. I know that I was talking about that you are not responsible for how it's received, but you are responsible for, what goes into it and the making of it.
Yeah.
So I do think that being a steward of the work,
Yes.
and then having that reflective process, like having that reflective period of, once it's out there and you're hearing how it's been received, then the cycle repeats.
Right on.
The cycle repeats.
Right on.
I kind of forgot the question. I'm sorry.
Your creative
Set it out. Walk
process.
us through
Oh
your
yeah.
creative
Okay,
process.
great.
Your eyes that were so wonderful. Like,
Yeah.
making.
I think for me, my creative process is I'm just living my life. Like a lot of the things you were saying, like research, talking to other folks, being in community. That's just what I try to do every day. And I also just the things that I do every day are then the things that become my work.
Yes.
Like a lot of us wake up and we go on Instagram or we read the news or something. For me, I do the same thing. I read the news, and the news feeds into my work. So I think of my work and my life as I think of my work as my life and my life as my work. Some of what I create then becomes public, or a lot of what I create becomes public. But then, and then it becomes work. But I'm just like living, and so my creative process is just, I don't know, trying to live better. Yeah.
To live. I think so often we're not geared towards living. And so if you're inspired through living, that's a beautiful sort of reciprocal existence. Final question, and I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning of the interview, so I apologize those who are watching, but Anissa, and I think you mentioned it, partnered with Tunde during his residency, which I think is a beautiful example of community in practice. And so my final question stems around guidance you would offer emerging artists. You know, how would you pay it forward? What shared wisdom would you offer those artists who are just starting in their creative journey in this crazy world that we live in right now? Any sage that you can offer them?
Let me start and then you can close.
That's it. I was gonna like,
mine is just I don't know. That's the I don't know what to. I'm just.
Good luck.
I think. I think you. And by anything I mean what you want to happen and what happens are like two different things. But you just keep doing what you believe in, and then you get lucky enough to meet people that support your work. You get lucky enough to meet people like the Taft, like the Duncanson that like uplift you. But that is not that's not guaranteed, right? Like unfortunately there's only one artist in residence a year, right? So but I think you just keep that's the advice. You just keep doing work that you believe in and keep trying to find people that believe in you or the work and that will support you. I think that's all I have.
Okay. Nisa?
maybe we should just end with Tunde.
Throw your mic. No, don't throw your mic.
The reason for my hesitance is just like real talk, to be honest. I know how I can help artists. Let me say it this way. My thoughts and my suggestions and beliefs are set on a particular time and expectation, and the way that the world was set up at a certain time. And given that I am not where young people are, I'm not living their reality and their life, is my advice relevant? Because I was able to, I am who I am because of what happened at a specific time, specific place, specific, reality of the world, which no longer exists.
Facts.
And so how can my advice, it can help me.
You count.
I'm all about that, that 1% better every day. But given the fact that, the advice that was given to me was go to college. I went to college. College has been disrupted.
Yes. Yes.
We have Google.
Yes. Yes.
I'm saying
I
that as a statement.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
statement.
Yes.
It's a neutral statement.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
a whole nother podcast. So that's neutral. The way that we get educated, the way that we get knowledge
Yes.
and information
Yes.
is so very different.
Yeah.
Does anybody know what a card catalog is? No.
I do.
Everybody knows
Don't
what a card
judge
catalog
me.
is. So that's what makes me, hesitant and weary.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to a video, and they were talking about all of our podcasts, and we're always looking for the ways to success.
Right.
But we're looking at the people who have made it.
Yes.
we're not interviewing the people who have not.
Yes.
And so, and one of the speakers was talking about how, there was during wartime, they were seeing all of the planes that landed and wanted to reinforce where the bullet holes were because they were the ones that made it back. And the engineer said, do not reinforce the metal on the planes that didn't make it back.
Ooh.
So don't put the metal where the bullet holes are because that's showing you that plane is strong enough because it made it back.
Yes.
Reinforce the metal where the bullet holes are not because those pilots didn't make it back. So we're focusing on those who make it.
Yeah.
We're not focusing on those artists who are no longer artists after 5 years, and we're not asking them, why were you not able to persist?
Wow.
And so by the time that somebody gets to me, their support system is in place because I was in academia, I was in art nonprofits. If they knew enough to get to me,
Right.
then I'm just helping them to the next.
Yeah.
We're not focusing on those who don't even know how to get to the first step.
Wow.
So that's what
The
and not to-
unsaged sage. That's what I'm going to call you, the unsaged sage. Because there was wisdom and truth in that. You've offered artists wisdom and truth in that.
So so it's bittersweet.
Yes.
It's bittersweet because in my vantage point, I can be of use to those who are who were coming up through academia.
Okay.
But if they're not coming up through academia, then the chasm is so much greater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
wish
don't
we
wanna
had.
end on- I'm so sorry.
Well, no, that's
Can
beautiful.
we-
That's a beautiful way to end. And I wish we had more time to dig a little bit deeper into that specifically. And I stand by the unsaged sage because there was a lot of wisdom shared there for both those who've made it and those who are still striving. I'm just Jay. This is Cincinnati's Conscience, and it's a special presentation in honor of the 40th anniversary of the Duncanson Artist-in-Residence Program.